Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning to all.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Good morning, madam.
Morning. I hope everybody is fine. Okay. All right. I think I'll start now. Okay, even though I still have like many people to join in. Okay, but I think we can start. Okay, it's already like 5 minutes past 8. Okay, what I'm going to do today is, as I mentioned, I'm going to just give you some feedback regarding your test first. Okay, I hope you all have your perhaps your solutions and as well as the test answer, the one that I've shared to you. Okay, so that you can actually follow. All right, what I'm going to go through, and if there's any questions that you would like to ask, feel free to ask. Okay, because basically for final exam also there'll be like some questions also which perhaps if have been tested, all right, during the test, it may actually come up again, all right, in terms of the topic, but in terms of the exact question, of course, definitely not. Okay, but it might be like similar type of questions, all right, or perhaps the topic itself. Okay, because for final exam, I think the topic that is not covered is only chapter 1. Okay, so the rest of the chapter will be covered for final exam. Right? Okay. For test, okay, as I mentioned, I'm not returning. Okay, I'm not returning your paper. But if you do have any questions regarding your test paper, all right, you can actually feel free to ask me. All right, you can text me and ask. Okay, I will inshallah respond to that. Okay, especially for those who think that they don't deserve such marks. So it might be perhaps there's a problem. Okay, uh, with the system and so on. Okay, because previously I had like 2 students actually ask me, and actually there was some problems and that problem has been rectified. But you know yourself, okay, as I mentioned, when I share you the test answer and you have a copy of your own solution, you can actually compare them, so you know yourself, you know how much you should actually get, all right, for your paper, so that when you check your marks in the system, okay, it should be like more or less tally, all right, to what you have actually done. Okay, all right, let's look at the test. All right, the solution, the answer. Okay, for question 1, if you look at question 1, basically question 1, okay, let me just, I would to have like blank space, blank sheet of paper. Okay, let me share the screen first. Okay, all right. Okay, for question one basically is about matrix. Okay, I think question 1A, one part A as well as part 1 and part 2. I think most of students got this one right. Okay, except for I think some or perhaps a few of people, perhaps they are not really sure. All right, because of A matrix has element of X. So maybe when we said that you subtract A minus 2B, okay, because of there's a X there. So perhaps a few people they are not sure. Okay, but again you just need to treat that as perhaps a number. Right, even that's a variable, but that is an element in the matrix, so basically you just subtract. Okay, leave it in terms of a variable. Okay, so if you look at the answer, okay, the answer should be like that. Okay, with the x minus 4, and based on that part 1 question, then you are to actually continue and answering for part 2, where you need to find the value of x. So if you got the answer for part 1 is wrong, okay, definitely your answer for part 2 also will be wrong. However, if you are using correct method, okay, you're using correct procedure to find the determinant of 2 by 2, all right, then in that case you still got method marks for question part 2. Okay, but of course accuracy mark you won't get, okay, because you will get different value for x, but the method mark, all right, it will be correct. Okay, if you are using a correct method to find determinant. Okay, so again, to find determinant, okay, determinant of 2 by 2, all right, for I think still got like a few people who actually did it wrongly. Okay, so again for 2 by 2, what you need to do, you just need to multiply the main diagonal. Okay, so if you have like A, B, C, D, all right, again, determinant 2 by 2, you multiply main diagonal first, all right, then you subtract these two products. Okay, so that's how we did the determinant for 2 by 2. Okay, but part 3, I think majority got it right. Okay, for DC, okay, a product of DC and then raised to -1. That means this is actually is asking you to find the inverse. Okay, but this is inverse of still 2 by 2. So I think it should not be that difficult. I think this one most people got it right. Okay. Okay, but part B, okay, this is the one that is quite interesting. All right, because for part B, all right, part B, you see the word, this one, that's this word, exact value, all right, as well as there's a statement saying without using calculator. So you have this word in the question, all right, but however, I would say that maybe like about 80%, okay, 80%, 880. Okay, it's not 18, it's 80% of the students actually use calculator. Okay, they use calculator to compute. Okay, so that means if people are lucky for perhaps like question part 1 where you have your -2 cosecant -5/6. If you're lucky, of course, you press your calculator correctly, you got the right answer because somehow the answer is 4. So there's no decimal. So even if you use calculator, okay, you use calculator, you got 4. Okay, however, all right, in order for you to get a full mark for this one, even though it's just 3 marks, all right, you should be able to show us like one step, okay, because by right you should not actually use calculator, okay, and you need to find exact value, so that means there's a method. Okay, but if people use calculator, definitely people will get 4, which is no decimal. Definitely that is the correct answer. But if there's some like working that we can see, all right, you show that, you know, perhaps cosecant -30 is actually is a sine 30. Okay, all right, you have your minus sine 30. Okay, so at least, you know, that part we can still give you like method, or else you just get just only a final one accuracy mark off for stating the right answer, which is 4. Okay, because by right you should not actually use calculator, so that means you must show certain method, at least 1 or 2 line of a method. Okay, all right, so that is question 1. However, part 2 where question is asking for minus cosecant, sorry, minus secant. Okay, so minus secant, all right, minus secant 202.5. Okay, all right, this is actually majority straight away use calculator and give us that in terms of decimal value. Definitely it will be wrong. Okay, wrong, 0 mark for that. Okay, you should be able to see the marks. Marks given is 5 marks. So if you just use calculator and just in one line you give us the answer, definitely that is not the right way to do. Okay, so usually, all right, when during exam, you look at the marks given. Okay, the marks allocation. So if the mark says that 10 marks, okay, 10 marks, that means just 1 or 2 line is insufficient. That means something is wrong. Okay, so with like 10 marks, there must be like long, sort of like a long working, all right, like perhaps, you know, for like 10 marks is perhaps, you know, require just 1 page. Okay, so like 5 marks, maybe you must have a few lines, all right, to show us some working, not just 1 line straight away give us answer. So it is incorrect. Okay, but those who realize that this is actually one way to answer this is actually using half angle. Okay, half angle, so then people actually got it correct. However, all right, when people, a few of them use a half angle formula incorrectly. Okay, incorrectly, because the if you look at the formula, the formula for half angle is written as, okay, as something like this. You have your square root of 1 plus cosine theta over 2. Okay, you have this one big square root. Okay, the whole thing here is actually under one square root, one big square root. Okay, but somehow, I think those who are using half angle, I do not know why, but majority actually write it as like this: 1 plus cosine, all right, theta, and then over 2 like that. Okay, all right. So that means you're not putting these two under the square root. Okay, so I do not know why. Because you can actually just copy this exactly from the textbook, right? The formula. So by right, you are referring to the formula in the book, so you can actually write it correctly. So when you write like this, so you will be penalized because this is actually is a wrong formula. Okay, wrong expression. Okay, because this is mathematics. Square root of 2 and without the square root, it means differently. Okay, they are not the same. Okay, 2 and square root of 2 are not the same. So formula is actually is a square root. 2 is actually it's a square root of 2, not just this 2. Okay, so somehow I think those who are using this formula, you are writing like this. So I do not know whether it's a way of writing or what. Okay, but it's like consistent for like some people like that. Okay, all right. So please be very careful. Okay, so next time if you are using the right formula, you're referring to certain formula, write it correctly. And especially if there's a square root, you have to be very careful. Okay, so again, I would like to emphasize any expression with a square root, you have to write it correctly. Okay, so I need to emphasize because complex number has sometimes square root that you are given. So when you write square root, like I mentioned in the for assignment 3, has a typo. So if you have like square root of 2i, so I should not be under square root. Okay, so if people write it like this, so this is actually is wrong. Okay, so that's why we said anything that have the square root, okay, for complex number, you write I in front of that square root, so that you can avoid confusion. Okay, or else if you write like this, so sometimes when you write faster, you want to write it quickly, then you have a tendency to write something like this perhaps. Okay, so that's why please avoid. Okay, so when you write anything like with a square root, make sure you write it correctly. Okay, so one of the feedback that I would like to emphasize when I mark is actually is this sort of things. Okay, for those who are using half angle. Okay, so there are some actually use half angle, all right, for this particular question, which is actually that is supposed to be, all right. So that's the answer. So if you are the one who actually straight away use calculator and got the answer, so definitely you got 0 marks for this question. Okay, and part 3 also, all right. I think you cannot use calculator, but somehow I do not know how people actually got the answer in terms of decimal also. Okay, all right. So by right, okay, for part 3, you are asked to find sine to gamma. So using your formula or identity, all right, for sine double angle. So 2 sine gamma cosine gamma. All right. So what you need to do is actually you are using our like right angle triangle. Okay, the concept. Okay, all right. So you have your sine to gamma. All right, so you have your 2 sine gamma cosine gamma. Yeah, okay, and sine gamma here is given from the question. All right, it's given. So based on that, remember, just use your triangle. Okay, we have done this before. Okay, that you are given sine gamma, so this is gamma, so sine gamma is 12 over 13, so you are given 12 over 13, so you just need to use your Pythagoras theorem and get another length, all right, for the adjacent. Okay, and the fact that you have to identify that your angle gamma lies in which quadrant. Sine is given 12 over 13, which is positive. Tangent is said to be negative, so you just need to identify that your gamma is actually lies in quadrant 2, right? Because tangent negative is here and here. All right, sign positive is here and here. So that means you know that your gamma is in quadrant 2. So when gamma is quadrant 2, cosine gamma is negative. So basically, those who actually using this method to answer, all right, those who are using this method to answer, still got it wrongly. Because why? Because you are putting cosine as positive. Cosine gamma, you put positive 5/13, in which it is supposed to be negative 5/13. Okay, so you're not careful, all right, when you plug in the value. So please make sure you next time, okay, you look at the question carefully. Okay, all right. Okay, so basically that is your for question 1. Okay. Oh, and another one I forgot to mention oh, okay, no, this is not this one. This is actually is for question 2 actually. It's about the cofactor method. Okay, so basically I think question one basically, all right, that's the feedback. Anybody got any question for question 1 to ask me? Anyone got any question to ask for question 1? I hope you understand. So basically I think that if you look at question 1, okay, you actually have done this. All right, you have done this. We have given you example. All right, question in the book also, the exercises also, you have done similar exercise actually. All right, to the question. It's just that of course during test or even final exam, sometimes lecturer just want to use a different type of perhaps variable, things like that. Okay, like this one, sine gamma instead of perhaps x, all right, or theta or a, they use different variable. Just want to test you whether you understand or not. You just like, it's like testing your mind with a different variable. Can you see that this is actually is similar or not? Do you understand that gamma is just a variable? Okay, remember variable is actually is can be represented by any letters. Okay, can be represented by any letters. So if the one that you used to use is X or maybe Y, A, and then suddenly in the exam they use different letters. So don't get confused. It's the same thing. It is actually it's the same thing. Okay, so let's look at question 2. Okay, question 2. All right. I think some student got it right, but I think some still don't get it right. Why? Because I think people, those who did not get this one right, is because you do not actually, I do not know whether you don't realize, what actually the question wants, all right? Like for the first question, it is asking you for determinant for A with a T. That A to power T, you know that is a transpose. Okay, that is transpose. Okay, so basically for question 2, you have this A transpose and asking you to find determinant for A transpose. Okay, so it means that you must actually use A transpose instead of A. So if you forgot to transpose that A, okay, if you forgot to transpose that A, most of the students who did not use the transpose, all right, you do not actually get the right answer for some reason. Okay, maybe because due to, I think you did not actually compute correctly for the determinant, all right, using cofactor. You do not actually compute using cofactor correctly. Okay, so it is supposed to be a transpose. So you got to transpose first your matrix A. Okay, and based on this also, then if you look at part 2, you are asked to find the inverse of this A transpose. Okay, so basically if you compare this type of question with the one that you did in class or the one that you did in your assignment, in your tutorial, basically we just based on that particular matrix, the given matrix A, for example, then okay, use that matrix A to find determinant, to find the inverse, to solve equation. All right, but this time they just want to use the matrix in terms of this A transpose. Okay, matrix of the A transpose. So that means before you can proceed further, you first need to transpose the given matrix, then only based on that particular matrix, all right, you find the determinant, find the inverse, and solve. Okay, so the method is still correct, like what we did previously. It's just that the starting point of the matrix is now is a different All right, it's a different type from what you've done during tutorial or during your assignment. Okay, so the lecturer just want to twist a bit, all right, of your understanding from the beginning. All right, instead of just using the given matrix A, they want you to transpose first that matrix, then only from that matrix, all right, you do whatever that you have done before. So if those students who actually realize about this transpose, all right, so you start off with the right matrix. So most of you actually got it correct. It's just that I think for this question, most people they already got all the 9 cofactor in part 1. Okay, then part 2 they just find they solve. All right, they find they find the inverse. They find the inverse only. Okay, but if you look at our answer, the marking scheme, the lecturer who prepared this, all right, they put actually a lot of marks in part 2, okay, where they anticipate that students find all the cofactor, the rest of the cofactor in part 2. However, for those actually they did during like part 1 already gotten all the cofactor, we will still accept. Actually, for question 2, all right, we actually mark this question, even though like there are 2 parts, part 1 and part 2, but we actually mark it as like one big question. Okay, so there's no issue. All right, even though you are only finding just simple, not that how do I say, the solution for your part 2 basically just finding the inverse only, because the rest of the non-cofactor you already written in your part 1. Okay, then in that case, you know, the whatever marks is distributed in part 2, we will actually put it, all right, we add up into your part 1. So basically, all right, if you got it correct, you got all the full marks, you know, for the 15 marks, okay, for this type of question. Okay, so this is actually is a lot. So those who really do it carefully for this question A, you got this 15 marks. Actually, it really push up your test marks, because certain question definitely, you know, you did not get it right. And what more, like question 3, most of the students leave it. They don't solve question 3. Okay, most students left that question 3. All right, so if you do it carefully for your question 2 like this one, and then your matrix for question 1, I think those students will actually get through this test. When I say you can get through means, all right, the marks for test is actually is upon 60 marks. Okay, so it's upon 60 marks. So that means if you got less than 30, that means you fail the test. Okay, if you got less than 30 marks, that means you fail the test. But not to say fail the course. It's only this paper. Okay, all right, not saying that, you know, you fail the course, because you still have like other marks. All right, your assignment. Okay, you got 3 assignment and your final exam. Okay, so we are just talking about this test paper only. Okay, all right, so that is for this question. And another thing that I wanted to highlight is that there are also a few people do not actually use the method that we ask you to use, cofactor. We say cofactor, right? Find determinant using cofactor, but you use different method. Okay, the one that, remember, there's a method where, for example, like let's say this is 1 2 minus 1, this is 1 4 minus 2, for example, 2 3 1. All right, asking you to find determinant, and then you expand the column, remember, and then you find this product. All right, subtract this. All right, that type of method to find determinant that we showed you also in class. So this is not cofactor. So those who did this, even though you got the right answer, all right, we just mark it wrong, and then we will put like, you know, cofactor like this. But if you use this method, you got the correct determinant, you got 5, you just get 1 mark only for the accuracy for that determinant. All right, determinant value. But the rest of the marks, all right, you lose. Okay, because you don't actually follow the method that we want you to use. Okay, so again, whenever you read the question, if there's a method specified, you must actually follow. Like I mentioned during complex number, De Moivre's theorem, mention De Moivre's theorem, use the method. Okay, so every time there's a method specified in the question, you must use. You don't use it, that means, you know, you don't get marks for the method. Even though you got the correct answer at the end, you still get like 1 accuracy mark for that particular answer, but not the whole, you know, solution. Not the whole working, okay, working marks. Okay. All right. So that is for part A, and then for part B. Okay, this is even interesting. All right, for part B. Okay. So part B, this is actually solving a trigonometric equation. So basically, this question, if you remember last time before, we actually did this before. We finished our trigonometric equation just before like your mid semester break, isn't it? Before mid semester break, because your test was actually after your mid semester break, right? During week 9, and we did this trigonometric equation. I gave you like some of the example. Okay, quite a number of example for trigonometric equation. Okay, but surprisingly, when some people they answer for this equation, I do not know. My how do I say? My feeling is that when I mark this, my thought is like as if you do not actually, you do not, you haven't actually seen how we actually we teach you how to actually solve the equation. Okay, solve the trigo equation. So what surprised me is that, like for example, if let's say you look at the first question, cosine square x, plus 2 sine x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, some students straight away say that like this, all right, like this. Okay, straight away you say like that. You take this, you equate to 0. You take this, straight away you equate to 0. No, it is not as simple as like that. Okay, remember that when you want to do something like this type of statement, you can only do that if you have a product form. All right, you have a product form. This is not the product form. This expression is a sum or difference expression of, all right, trigo expression. Okay, so it is not in a product form. Product form means you have a product of something like this: a times b equals 0. Then only you can say a equals 0 or b equals 0. Okay, so you can only do that if you have a product form. So if your expression is not in the product form, you cannot do this. Okay, this is actually is wrong. So the moment your first line, first step, you do like this, so straight away the whole thing is wrong. So I don't look at the rest of whatever that you have written. Okay, even though you it turn out maybe you write the right answer, it's straight away is wrong, because when the method is wrong, straight away everything is wrong. But if the method is correct, it's a correct method, but you make a mistake in perhaps certain uh, multiplication or division, whatever method is makes sense, method is correct, but wrong answer, for example. Okay, all right, so you still got some marks. Okay, you still got some mark in between, but the moment your method straight away is wrong, it's totally wrong. All right, then it means that even answer turn out to be correct also is considered wrong. Okay, all right, because then that method, that answer is considered like just a lucky answer, lucky number only, so it's still wrong, so 0 mark for this. So you cannot do this. All right, you cannot do this, and I also realized yesterday when I started marking assignment 2, because assignment 2 also got question with a trigonometric equation, and I found that yesterday also, like one or two scripts that I marked, students actually did this type of solution for trigonometric equation. So it's wrong. It is wrong. Okay. All right. And for assignment question, that trigo equation, if you recall, assignment 2, that trigo equation is actually consists of a lot of marks. Okay. So it's like 10 marks for equation. If you remember yesterday, I mean the assignment 2 is question 1. You have the 3 part 1 to 3. You got like one part is 5 marks, and then 10 marks, 10 marks. So that 10 marks question, when people do like this, straight away lose 10 marks for the assignment. Okay, so I was actually about to hope that you are actually going to get good marks for assignment after this, to help you to push up your test mark, for the course. But when I marked yesterday, I've started marking assignment 2. So I realized I got script. do like this, okay? And what more if that group has like 5 people as a group members. So when I mark one person, if this is wrong, then all the means that the other 4 also got the same marks, okay? So then straight away the 5 students for that particular group, you lose that, 10 marks. So if that one question 10 marks, the two question another 10 marks, so 20 marks. So you don't actually, get good marks then for your assignment too. Okay, so again, for those who actually did this mistake, make sure you understand you cannot do this for equation. You must make sure that you write in the product form first. So if you look at the answer, all right, given the answer provided, you see the steps. You got to change this to identities, simplify, and then for this question you got your like quadratic equation form of equation, then you got to factorize. So when you factorize, then only you have in the form of a product. So when you have the form of a product, this is the A and the B, A times B, then only you can say A equals 0 or B equal 0, then only you can solve for your solution, for your variable, for x, for angle. Okay, so that's how we do for the solving trigonometric equation. In fact, not only trigonometric equation, all right, any other equation which requires to actually factorize, like quadratic equation, so you got to factorize. That means you got to write in the product form. So when it is in the product form, then only you can write it as like this, so that you can solve, okay, to get the solution. So you cannot just simply do like this. You cannot simply do like this. Okay, all right. But actually during test, actually somehow there are many students also straight away do like this. Okay, all right. Okay, and question part 2 also, sine 2x equals sine x. So you just need to bring that one equation to the other side. Okay, and when we want to solve for any equation, all right, for trigo equation, our right hand side we will always put it as 0. You must have a 0 equals 0, then only you can solve. So that means if your right hand side has a certain expression, bring it to the left hand side. Okay, bring it to the left hand side. Okay, of course it depends on the question. Maybe not all equation that the first step you must bring to the left. It depends on, depends on a certain equation. And if you have done this type of question many times, then you should know how to actually solve it. Okay, so something like question 2 also, you just need to bring your right hand side expression sine x to the left hand side. Okay, then you use your trigo identities. Then again, you must make sure you write in a product expression before you can solve, before you can equate. All right, that you have the two separate equation. So you can see from the solution there. All right. Okay. And question 3. Okay, question 3. Okay, perhaps question 3. Maybe people may say that, okay, like this lecturer who did this, not to say that they want to trick you, but they just want to see whether can you see that the right hand side where they put secant pi, this is a number. Do you know that this is a number? All right. So if people see this as a number, then, all right, you know that this is straight away you change to 1 or minus. This is minus 1, sorry. Secant pi is minus 1. So straight away you change that to, all right, to minus 1. Okay. But if people don't see this as a number, then that's where people will carry this secant pi along. Then of course somewhere in the middle you got stuck, then you do not know how to proceed. Okay, but when you see that, you can see this is actually is a number. Okay, then only at this stage, this type of equation, if you recall, there was one tutorial that we did, all right, in which you have, this type of equation where I remember telling you that, if you look at this, there's no way that you can solve unless you do something about it. So when you want to do something about it, perhaps, one method, you might want to square both sides. Okay, you might want to square both sides. So do you remember that? Okay, do you remember that tutorial? All right, question. So you square both sides. Okay. So that is actually is the starting, all right, the starting point to actually answer this type of equation. So this is actually in a way is similar. This is similar to tutorial question, the one that we did, all right, in our session, our tutorial session. Okay, but if this one from the beginning you cannot see that this is a number, all right, that's when you know you got stuck. You do not know how to proceed, or you do something which actually doesn't make sense. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's when you can actually solve this. And again, all right, if you recall that tutorial question also, the one that we did this type, remember we said that, okay, when at the beginning you do something like this, meaning to say you're trying to modify the equation, you do something, you square both sides. That means solution at the end you must check. It is a must to check. So if you check this solution, actually at the end of the day, whatever x angle you got, actually none of them is actually solution for the given specified domain, because domain is given for the answer is between 0 and pi. Okay, all right, 0 and pi, and there is no solution. If you check also, there's no solution, meaning to say left hand side is not equal to right hand side of the original equation. So for this question, there is actually no solution. And if you recall, it is similar to our tutorial. Okay, that one question of the tutorial. Okay, where you do something like this, and then at the end, solution also, when you check, there is no solution. Okay, all right. So this is actually um, this type of how do you answer this? Okay, and then all right, we already like 40 minutes past. Okay, never mind. And then the last, okay, the last question 3. Okay, I would say that majority. I would say like majority did not actually answer this. Um, I think yeah, majority did not answer. Okay, but I think there are like a few people got it correct. Got correct. Full mark for this. Okay, full mark for this question. Okay, I think like 4 people got it correct. Okay, for this type of question, got full mark, 10 marks for this. Okay, and those who try also attempted to for this question also, I think most of students who attempted, they only got like 1 mark, 4 marks, 3 marks like that. Okay, but 4 people got like 10. The rest actually left the question, so they did not actually uh, do the question. So perhaps my feeling is that maybe you don't have enough time, okay, to answer test paper. Okay, I'm not so sure. Okay, or maybe due to lack of preparation. Okay, then you do not have time to answer. Okay, but we do have students who actually got good marks, okay, for the test. All right, got 50 over 60. Okay, so our highest mark is actually 50. I think for your group is actually 51. For my other group is actually 52. So that's the highest mark, okay, for the test paper. All right, but we do have actually majority of the students actually fail the test paper. Majority fail the test paper. Only test paper, I said not the course, It's only test paper. When I say this test paper means that you got less than 30 marks. Okay, less than 30 marks for the paper. Okay, now whatever is done is done. Okay, it cannot be undone. Okay, but this is not yet the end of the world. Okay, so I know that some of you are upset, okay, with the result. Okay, I received a few text messages from students, about their coursework marks. All right, quite low marks. Okay, because I already key in 40% of the course. So what you can see now in your system is actually 40% of the course. Okay, so hopefully by next week also I'll be able to key in another 10% for your assignment too, hopefully. So again, I really hope that after this, make sure you do well for your assignment 3. I think assignment 3 perhaps not that difficult as compared to previous assignment. Okay, because basically assignment 3 is the complex number. So complex number, if you ask me, it's not difficult, but it will be a bit tedious. Certain question, it can be lengthy in terms of writing the solution. Okay, you have a lot of things to write. Okay, a lot of things to write. It's quite lengthy, but it is not difficult. So what you need to do is to have a patience and passion, all right, to do it. Okay, so you have to make sure you write clearly, correctly, all right, compute correctly, don't make mistake in calculation. You have calculator to use, then by all means use. If you need to add 1 plus 1, you want to use calculator, go ahead. Make sure you don't make any careless mistake. That is the most important. Okay, all right, because complex number require like patience to answer, to solve. Okay, and it is not difficult. So assignment 3, make sure, I really hope that everybody can get full mark for assignment 3. Okay, for assignment 3. Then for final exam, you make sure that you really prepared for the exam. Our technical maths is on the first day of the final exam day. It's a first day, it's a first paper. I think it's your first paper if I'm not mistaken. Okay, it will be on 20 what 20 25th or 28th, I can't remember, but that is actually is on the first day. Okay, all right, end of this month, end of this January. So you must make sure, if you have not done enough preparation, you have not done enough exercises, all right, you make sure you start now. You still have time, you still have time, you can start now. Okay, it is still not too late. Okay, it's still not too late, so you must make sure you work hard, all right, for the final exam. Okay, not only this paper, of course you have other courses as well. Okay, but you please make sure you really determine, you really determine to do well. Okay, the problem is for some students, they don't really determine. Okay, so if you are not really that determined, then there's nothing I can help. But if you really determined, all right, you have question, you ask. All right, you don't understand, you ask. All right, the most important, you must do a lot of exercises. Mathematics is not like courses where you can just read and listen. All right, you may think that, you when I show you the step, I show you example, you may think that you understand. How do you know you understand if you have not done any exercises, you have not tried any questions, so you may not know whether you understand or not. Okay, so you have to actually write something. Mathematics, you cannot just read, you must write. You must make sure when you review and revise your mathematics courses or any course with mathematical equations, all right, you must have a paper as well as a pen or pencil to write. You cannot just read, cannot. That's why, we lecturers also, when we teach you, I don't give you like slide to read, step by step, reading the solution. It should not be that way. Okay, that's why we need to show you, okay, step by step, because this is not something that you can read to understand. So what more, you as a student also, the same, when you revise, review, you must write, you must do. Okay, you cannot just read the solution and think that you understand. So it cannot be like that. So you must, all right, you must now like focus and start, doing questions. You don't understand, you ask. Either you ask your friends, or you can ask me. Normally students who send me asking me question, normally I will respond. Okay, all right, I will respond. So you ask, all right, you ask friends, you ask me, or you ask, during tutorial, ask. Don't understand, you ask. Okay, don't get embarrassed, don't get shy. Sometimes when you ask question, you are actually asking on behalf of the rest of the friends who also do not know. They are also in the same boat like you. Okay, so you never know, so you can actually benefit them also. All right, when you ask questions. Okay, but the most important, you must make sure that from now onwards, all right, if you think that your marks is low, do something about it. Okay, but again, as I said, even though you may fail this test paper, but you are not actually failing the course, not yet. Because you don't have your final exam yet. Okay, final exam, all right, is 40%. Okay, so as I mentioned last time, okay, so you have your assignment. Okay, so your assignment 1 is 10%. So your assignment 2 also another 10%. Assignment 3 another 10%. So your test, all right, is 30%, and your final is your 40%. So this is actually is the percentage, all right, for your assessment. Okay, so for your assessment. Okay, so for your, like for example, like for your assignment, okay, assignment assignment 1, that time is actually is upon 40, right? So when we compute, all right, whatever marks you get, all right, so we divide by 40 and then we multiply by 10. So same thing like your test also, whatever you got your test that time, right, upon 60 and then times 30%. Okay, so that's how we calculate. Okay, and that's how the system should actually calculate lah. Okay, the SNP, our system, because basically on our side as a lecturer, we just key in whatever marks we got from your paper, so the system will compute for us. But this is how the system should actually compute. Okay, all right. Okay, so you still have this. All right, so you already got your 40% now, so you still have your assignment 2, assignment 3, as well as final exam. So you can still push, all right, for the marks. All right, you can still push. All right, you can still get good marks at the end. Okay, so you just need to make sure that you really work harder this time. Okay, so you just need to sacrifice your time for this, 1 month or so. All right, just for the final exam. So if you really want to get good grades for at the end of the semester, all right, you just need to sacrifice for this 1 month. I know it's very difficult, very hard during pandemic. Okay, I understand that. All right, it's difficult to study online. Okay, on our part also it's difficult to teach online. It's much easier when we teach face to face with student. All right, especially during lecture, during tutorial, we can straight away easily see, whether you do your part, you do your work or not. We can check, one by one in class. Like right now, when during this online, I cannot do that. Right. I know that sometimes, I can see, my participant is like 70 over students. But if I think I call like half of the names, maybe they don't respond. All right. I know that. All right. But of course, this is something that is beyond my control. I cannot do anything because no one wants this situation to happen, isn't it? So we have to just, live with it and deal with it. Okay, but so in your part, you have to really, do something about it. All right, and what more, you don't see your friends. I know it's hard. It is hard. It's difficult for you to discuss. So, but you have to just make sure that you do something about it. Okay, you got to take charge of your life. So you have to do something about it. You have you have problem. You try to sort it out. Okay, you have academic advisor. Right, you have academic advisor. So you got any problem regarding your academic stuff, talk to your academic advisor. Academic advisor should try to help, okay, when it comes to the academic matters. Okay, and also the university also last time mentioned that if people got like problem with the internet, something like that, and people would like to come to the university to stay in the hostel, by all means you can request like that. You can request. And I have actually a few, I think one or two of my students this semester, okay, I think from the other group, actually he stayed in our hostel, okay, due to the internet connection at hometown. So he came here and lived in the hostel. But when I asked him how many stay in the hostel, he said only like less than 10 people. Okay. But again, everybody has maybe their own problem. But whatever it is, you make sure you sort it out, then and don't let that problem affect you. Okay, because this is your life, isn't it? This is, I mean, you choose to be in the university, so you must make sure you do well. All right, in all your courses. Okay, so again, any problem, all right, regarding whatever matters, try to sort it out. Okay, all right, so don't let this affect your studies. Okay, all right, anybody got any questions? It's almost like 9 o'clock. I'm giving a pep talk today. Okay, I just want to make sure that you all really, how do I say, start thinking of, your final exam. Start really like try to really push and, work harder. All right, work harder, because I know that many people are upset with the marks. All right. Okay, not only you, I also, when I mark also, I was like upset also when I mark your paper, as though like I am not teaching you correctly. That's how I feel. Okay, or maybe something wrong with my teaching. That's how normally lecturer would feel when they mark and then suddenly student, do not actually do like accordingly. So that's how I feel. As if like I did not teach you correctly, and then you did like this. Something like that. Okay, but anyway, I really hope, I hope you understand what I'm saying this morning. Okay, so make sure after this, all right, make sure after this you start doing something. All right, if you think that you did not do many exercises before, all right, so maybe start doing a lot of exercises, start doing exercises in the book. All right, don't understand, if you don't understand, you ask. All right, make sure you are actually ready for tutorial. That is actually the most important thing. Because if you do not actually come to for the tutorial without preparation, then it's actually difficult on both of us. I cannot proceed faster. All right, I have to like wait. All right, so then things cannot actually go smoothly. So if you actually have done many questions, then during tutorial, if you do not understand, then you can ask. All right, you don't understand, you ask. Okay. Okay, because it's different than if when I ask you question, it's different if you say that you do not understand, rather than you say I do not do it. Okay, I haven't done it. So right, it's two different thing actually. Okay. Anybody got any question? Anybody got any question to ask on anything? Anybody got any question to ask regarding your assignment or regarding your test, regarding anything, final exam, whatever? Before we proceed with the afterwards, I think after that I'm going to give you a break because it's already like almost 9 o'clock. Maybe we can take a break for 5 minutes, and then after that we can continue looking at our complex number questions, our tutorial. But before we take a break, anybody got any question to ask? Anyone? No?
No, madam. No.
Okay. All right. I hope you understand what I'm saying this morning. All right. Okay. So if not, then maybe we can take five. All right. We'll take five first. Okay, because we're almost 9 o'clock, and then after that, we can continue by looking at our complex number questions. Okay, is that okay? All right. Okay, we'll take 5 minutes break, and then this is now 8:56, so maybe we can start at about like 9 1 minute, 9:02 or something like that. All right, 5 minutes break. Okay, all right. Is everybody there?
Yes, madam.
All right, okay. I think we are going to continue looking at complex number. Okay, I hope everybody is ready. Okay. Someone asked me about the answer for chapter exercise 3. Okay, I have not yet written the answer, but give me some times. Maybe give me like until like maybe next week or the week after that. Maybe by week 15. I hope I will be able to give you the answer for that. Okay, Cherise? Okay, because at the moment I have not okay, because I have no time at the moment because of the marking and other stuff as well. So I hope by next week I will have like sometimes to try to prepare the answer. Okay, maybe what I will do, I would like to ask the coordinator actually, I mean the authors, okay, because this book they have authors. So authors basically normally when they prepare the questions, the authors will also have the answer. Okay, so maybe I will approach to the authors, all right, of the book. Maybe I will ask them for the answer so that I don't have to actually solve it. So I can straight away write the answer and then I'll just give it to you. So I'll ask the answer from the authors, then I will give it to you. Okay? So hopefully by next week or the week after that. Okay, but if you ask me, for application of trigonometry, chapter 3, is actually, if you ask me, if you want to revise and review for that particular topic, is enough, all right, is enough for whatever that you have done so far. Meaning to say that the question that we discuss in class, the selected questions that we discuss in class, because questions are a lot, okay, it's many in the textbook, in our textbook, but we did discuss quite a number of questions for chapter 3. So I think if you ask me, in order for you to review and revise, enough for the one that we selected and discussed during classes, as well as your assignment question, assignment 2. All right, assignment 2, so far the one that I marked, everybody got it correct, okay, for those questions. All right, and I think it's actually, if you ask me, enough for you to actually revise and review that particular question. If you did not do the rest that we did not do, the one in the book, is also okay, if you ask me. Because final exam, the question for final exam for chapter 3, application, we provide the diagram. Okay, as I mentioned last time, we provide the diagram. So then you don't have to worry about how to actually draw. Okay, so diagram is provided. So then you just need to figure out from the diagram, okay, how do you actually answer the question. Because the most important thing for chapter 3 application is actually is the diagram. Because if the diagram is not correctly drawn, okay, so you might actually solve differently. Okay, so perhaps diagram is given, it's just that make sure you if it is not labeled, okay, then you label correctly, okay, according to the question. Okay, I don't know I haven't seen the question for final, okay, for application, but I know that the coordinator told us that the diagram is actually provided for the application, okay, application of trigonometry. Okay, but anyway, I will try to get answers to the rest of the question which we did not discuss. I'll get it from the authors. Okay, I'll request the authors to provide me, then I will share it with you. Okay. All right. Okay, let's look at our exercises for complex number. Okay, because this morning you combined with the other section, my section, section 2, which is the afternoon session. So basically, the afternoon session last week, we have actually discussed until, if I'm not mistaken, exercise 4.5. Okay, but the morning group last week, we only managed to discuss until this part 4.3. Okay, so but because this morning I asked both of you to combine, okay, because I have an appointment this afternoon with the doctor. Okay, so that's why sorry for asking people in the afternoon to join in. Okay, then maybe what I will do, okay, for those students, the afternoon session, okay, even though yours is actually we have discussed 4.4 and so on, but what I'm going to do today is I will start with I just continue from the morning session, discussion, which is last week we stopped at 4.3. So today we will look at 4.4. So for those afternoon session, perhaps just regard this as like revision also for you. Okay. All right. Okay. So we stopped actually, we have stopped until 4.3 last week. So then today we are going to look at exercise 4.4. Okay. So we'll continue from 4.4. So 4.4, which is on page, okay, 4.4 is on page 147. Okay, so basically for exercise 4.4, this one, if you look at the question, this is about plotting. Okay, plotting complex number. Okay, just to inform everybody, all right, again for afternoon session, there's a mistake in the book for this plotting complex number in Argand diagram. Okay, plotting a complex number in Argand diagram in the textbook. If you look at the textbook, okay, even like example 7, okay, on page 146, all right, and then on page 145 also, if you look at how the figure showed you the plotting of complex number, okay, the line with an arrow, okay, there should not be an arrow. That's a mistake for complex number. Complex number, when we plot, there should not be an arrow. Arrow is only for vectors. Okay, we have done vectors. We have started vectors this early of this week. Okay, only vectors has an arrow because vector has a direction. Complex number doesn't have a direction. Okay, so we're not talking about direction, whatever for complex number. So basically, all right, that is a mistake. Okay, there's a mistake. All right, for plotting a complex number in the book. Okay, so exercise 4.4, maybe exercise 4.4 I will show you. Okay, because this is just plotting. So I will show you for this exercise 4.4. Okay, so you have your all right, basically you have Argand diagram. Okay, so Argand diagram, you have your real, okay, real axis as well as imaginary axis. Okay, and then let's say you want to plot like A, -4 plus I. So -4 plus I. So basically, it starts from the origin. So for A, you have your real part is -4. Imaginary part is 1, isn't it? +1. So from the origin, you go 4 units to the left, assuming 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 units to the left, and then go up 1 unit. So assuming this is the point. Okay, so that is your, and then you just draw a straight line like that. Okay, so that is your A. Okay, your A, which is your -4 plus I. So there's no arrow. So when we plot, okay, and then B also -4 minus I. So again, -4 means again from the origin, go 4 units to the left, and then go down 1 unit. So basically for B, you have something like here. Let's say assuming that is 1 unit down. So then you have your line. So this is your B, which is -4 minus I. Okay. And then C is -7. Okay, -7I. Okay, that means you don't have C, you don't have a real part. You only have imaginary part. So that means from the origin, nothing to go to the right or left, but in this case, we go down 7 unit. So -7I means go down 7 unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Assuming that is the one. Okay, so that means you have your straight line down, going down like that. So that is our C, which is -7I. Okay, and then D, 5 plus 3I. So that means from the origin, +5 means go to the right 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 units to the right, and then +3I. So that means imaginary positive go up 3 units, 1, 2, 3. So assuming that's the point, so just draw a straight line. So that is your 5 plus 3I. And then for E is 4 minus 5I. So again, 4, +4 from the origin, go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 units, and then go down 5. So 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So assuming you have somewhere here. Okay, so somewhere there. So then just draw a straight line there. Okay, so that is your E. Okay, 4 minus 5I. And then finally, F is 5. Nothing for the imaginary. All right, imaginary part is only real part 5. That means from the origin, go 5 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means you are here, that point on your real axis. So that is your F, which is for 5. Okay, so when we plot complex number, okay, it's only a line, but there's no arrow. Okay, so that's a mistake in the book. So you just take note on that. Okay, so that is 4.4. Okay, then move on to 4.5. So 4.5. Okay, so 4.5 exercise 4.5 on page 156. Okay, you have your question 1 is on the express the following complex number in the polar form. Number 2, find polar coordinates. Number 3, find rectangular coordinate. Okay, I would like to start with question 2 and 3 first. Okay, because question 2 and question 3 basically is in terms of just coordinate. Okay, given rectangular coordinate, change to polar coordinate. Okay, that is question 2. Question 3, you are given a polar coordinate, and then you just need to change to rectangular. So I want to start looking at question 2 as well as question 3. Okay, anybody have done this? Maybe you can share your answer. Okay, for exercise 4.5. Anybody has tried this? 4.5. You are given a rectangular. So that means you are given rectangular coordinate. You are given 4, 6. This is your x. Alright, this is your x. This is your y. Okay, that is your rectangular coordinate. So you are to change into r and theta. So basically you have your formula for r and theta. Okay. So we have done this many times for r and theta. Anybody has tried this?
Madam,
Anybody? Yes.
for R, I got square root 52.
Okay, you got square root 52. What about theta?
56.31.
Okay, 56.31. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means your answer would be in terms of polar coordinates, it will be square root of 52 and then 56.31. Okay, anybody got different answer? Okay, anybody got different answer or anybody do not understand? Okay, all right, this is actually is correct. Just make sure that okay, if some people would like to simplify square root of 52, all right, also can. All right, you can simplify, but if you do not simplify, you leave it as like square root of like this also can. All right, no worries. Okay, what about this is correct, eh? Okay, thank you. What about question 3? So this time you are given 1 3 pi over 4. So that means this is r and this is theta. So you are given this time polar coordinates. Now you just need to change to rectangular. So what would that be? Anyone would like to share the answer?
Madam,
Yes.
for X, I got -1. For Y, I got 1.
Okay, negative
Correct.
1 and 1.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else got any different answer? Anybody got different answer? Or anybody do not understand or do not know how to change to rectangular? Anybody? Okay. What do you mean by same method, Adelina? Can you speak up? Can you speak through your mic, Adelina? Adelina?
What I meant is it's still right. For R we use the square root x plus x.
No. Okay. Now, Adelina, this is now given polar. You are given polar, but you want to change to rectangular. You remember the formula? The one, because you want to write in terms of R, you want to write in terms of x, y. So you are given r theta. Okay, so the formula would be x equals to r cosine theta, because r is given, theta is given. So you can get your x. And then you have your another formula for the y. Y is your r sine theta. Okay, because given r and theta from here. This is r, this is theta. So this is what we want, x and y. Okay, Arlina?
Okay.
Okay, can you straight away compute this quickly? Give me the answer.
Hold on.
Okay. You can use calculator, no worries. Because the question doesn't mention about exact value, so you can use calculator. Unless the question wants you give us coordinate in terms of exact value without using calculator, then only you cannot use. Okay, if it doesn't mention, you can use calculator. That will be faster perhaps for you. Okay, just now Anissa, is it the one that gives me answer -1 and 1? Was it Anissa?
Yes, madam.
Okay, Anissa, do you think you got correct answer here?
I don't know, madam.
Okay, you use calculator, the one that I gave you here, this formula, because this is theta is 3 pi over 4. So cosine 3 pi over 4 is not 1. Okay, pi over 4, if it's tangent, yes, you got 1, but not cosine. Okay, so there's a mistake here, because r is 1. Okay, theta is 3 pi over 4. 3 pi over 4 or pi over 4 is actually similar. Okay, so pi over 4 for tangent, yes, it's 1, but not for cosine and sine. Sine and cosine got the same value here, 3 pi over 4. It's just that the difference would be the quadrant, because then this is 3 pi over 4. So perhaps this one is actually, this one is maybe in quadrant 2. Okay, so quadrant 2, that means x will be negative, y is positive. So what will be the answer? Okay, Adrina, what would be the answer? What do you get?
0.0 for x, is it?
It doesn't matter. What x is what?
0.99.
0
99.
0.9.
Yeah.
Let me check with my calculator. Okay, it's not 0.9. It's supposed to be 0.7. It's supposed to be, if you use calculator, all right, negative 0.707. That is x, and then y is positive, but it's the same. All right. This is actually is set 2 over 2 or 1 over set 2. If you remember cosine pi over 4, okay, cosine 45 degrees, but this is 3 times of that. Okay, 3 times of pi over 4. So this is actually is 135. Okay, it's quadrant 2. Okay, so if you use calculator, you will get that. If it's an exact value, you will write like this, or you can say like this. This is exact value. Okay, make sure if you use calculator, make sure you compute correctly. That's another thing. All right, make sure people know how to press correctly your calculator. Okay, now certain calculator, you need to be very careful, especially when you have like, for example, like this one. If my calculator, if I want to press, I have to make sure that I press a cosine, and then I have to put a bracket. I have to press bracket, and then I press then only I press this value, cosine, and then 3 pi over 4 close bracket, something like that. Okay, so my old calculator, I do not have to do that. It's different. I can just press it differently. The new calculator, I think you have to actually do it properly. Okay, all right. Okay, Okay, this is 2 and 3. Okay, let's look at question 1. 1 is where now only you are asked to express your uh, given complex number but in polar form. Okay, this is where question question 1. Now, for part A, okay, or another word, for this question, you are given actually a complex number in rectangular form. You are given a complex number in rectangular form. That means you are given in the form of x plus yi. This is given from the question. What you need to do, just write it in terms of polar form. Okay, this is given rectangular. So change to polar form in the form of r and then cosine theta plus I sine theta. This is what you need to do for question 1, for both part A and B. Okay, it's just that, all right, what you need to do, your formula for r and theta is similar. Okay, now it is the same method like previously, where you are going to use your r as square root of x squared plus y squared, and theta is tangent inverse y over x. Now for part B, okay, for part B, all right, everybody, there is actually typo for part B. Part B, the typo is on the Z. Okay, it's actually not the Z bar, just Z only. Okay, A is given you as Z equals minus 5 plus I. B, all right, they put like this, but actually that is just a typo. There's no bar here. Just a simple Z only. Okay, all right, all right. Just okay. This is just to say that is a conjugate from A. Okay, it's conjugate from A, but people may actually confuse it. Okay, because there is no relationship between A and B. So just a simple Z will do. But anyway, don't get confused with the Z. Don't get confused with the Z. What you want is just this part only. Okay, just look at in terms of a rectangular form of your complex number, then change it to polar. Okay, can you all do that? If you have not done, maybe I give you like 1 minute. Just quickly do this. But if anybody has done it, you can just show me the answer. Share your answer quickly for A and B.
Madam,
Yes,
for A,
A.
R square root 26.
R is square root 26. Theta?
101.
101. 101 degrees.
10.
Is it? Is it 101 degree? Is it this one? Huh? 101. Is that correct? Afifa? You got this? 101. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Let's
Yes,
wait
Yes,
others
madam.
also. If there's anybody else got any. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Let's wait others. If there's anybody got any different answer. Okay. So make sure everybody remembers that when you want to find theta, okay, find theta, you make sure that you know where your complex number lies. Okay, in which quadrant. Okay, in which quadrant, because theta should be a correct angle, okay, in a correct quadrant. Okay, so that's why we have this question just now. How do you plot? Plotting is just to say that you must make sure how you know where is your theta. If you know where your complex number lies, in which quadrant, then you can actually get the right argument, okay, when it comes to finding theta or finding argument for polar form. Okay.
Madam,
Okay, anybody? Yes?
Madam, can you show
Yes?
the previous page? Because my Weaver is having
The
problem. Can you show me the previous
this
page?
one.
Yes.
This one, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Okay, welcome. Okay, what about this 1A?
Madam, I get for the
Yes.
R is square root 26,
Okay.
and then
What
the
about
angle
theta?
is theta is 168.7.
168.7. Okay, Faisal. Okay. Anybody else got any different theta? So I suppose R is the same, but now we have a different theta. All right. Okay, so R is where you just square root of, okay, minus 5 squared plus 1 squared. So which means 25 plus 1, so you got 26. Square root of 26, that is R. Okay, theta will be tangent inverse. Okay, y over x. Okay, our y is 1, our x is minus 5. So basically it's minus 1 over 5. All right, definitely if I use my calculator will give me negative angle, isn't it? Let me try. Tangent inverse. Okay, and then bracket minus 1 over 5. Okay, my calculator gives me minus 11.3. Okay, this is just one decimal, minus 11.3. Okay, but this is angle in quadrant 4. Okay, calculator gives us angle in quadrant 4. But our complex number here is in which quadrant? Minus 5 plus I is in quadrant 2, isn't it? So we want angle in quadrant 2. So which means, all right, it's actually, we have to have like, this is like reference angle. Somewhere here is minus 11.3 here. So which means if we use the reference angle, this is 11.3 here. So since it's a quadrant 2, so this is the angle there. So which means that 180 minus 11.3. So if you do that, you will get 168.7. So this is quadrant 2 angle. Okay. All right. So that means this is the correct theta. Right. Correct theta and correct R. So in that case, therefore, okay, 5 minus 5 plus I minus 5 plus I in terms of rectangular form, it will be in the form of R, which is square root of 26, and then bracket cosine 168.7 degrees plus I sine 168.7 degrees. So that is our polar form. Okay? All right. Can people give me answer for B now? For part B? This time you have your minus 5 minus I.
R set 26.
Okay, R is also same. What about theta?
191.3.
191.3. Okay, thank you, Adina. Okay, anybody else got different answer for theta? Okay. Okay, anybody got different answer? All right, okay. I suppose when you compute, okay, your theta, calculator will give you actually is the same angle here. Okay, because basically they are just the same. Okay, the difference is that is 11, not negative. Okay, not negative, because this is, I'm looking at, this is positive. So calculator will give you a positive 11.3 because of the negative. Okay, but the value is something like 11.3. Okay, but before that, you just need to identify this one actually lies in which quadrant. -5 minus I is actually is quadrant 4. Okay, sorry, quadrant 3. Minus, isn't it? Okay, quadrant 3. So you have minus, so quadrant 3. So it is quadrant 3 angle. Okay, so I think this one, you know, because this is the same as the previous one, part A. So you have your square root of r squared, x squared plus y squared, which is your 26. Okay, it's just that this part, the theta. So if we look at theta, when we compute for theta, it will be our tangent inverse. Okay, you have your 1/5. Basically, it's positive because it's minus, so it's positive. Okay, so it becomes positive. So it becomes positive 1/5. So definitely calculator will give you, from calculator, they will give you 11.3. Okay, that means calculator will give you quadrant 1. Okay, because remember, it's a tangent inverse. If it's a positive, calculator will give you quadrant 1. If it's negative, calculator will give you quadrant 4. Okay, due to the last time we say definition of the domain for the restricted domain for tangent inverse. Okay, but because ours is actually now complex number is in quadrant 3. So similar concept. Okay, similar concept using the reference angle. That means, all right, if this is 11.3, that means you have your 11.3. All right, 11.3 there. So the angle is actually is quadrant 3. Okay, so which means that it will be 180 plus 11.3. So which means it will be 191.3. This is quadrant 3 angle. Okay, so that means, okay, your minus 5 minus I can be written as square root of 26 cosine 191.3 degrees plus I sine 191.3 degrees. So that is polar form. Okay, all right, any question? This is 4.5. Okay, all right, I hope you can understand. If you don't understand, you ask. Okay, let's move on. Exercise on page 159. This is now 4.6. Okay, on page 159. Okay, before we look at the exercise, there's a typo also in the book. Okay, please take note. If you look at the textbook, your textbook on page 158. Okay, example 1A. Example 1A. You have they give you answer like this. Z equals, this is exponential form. This is exponential form of a complex number. They give you the answer like this: square root of 2 and then e power minus 0.7854 I. Okay, there's a mistake here. Okay, it's a typo for your answer for part A example. Okay, because why? Because firstly, the complex number given, okay, first you need to know that the complex number given is in the form of this. Okay, and another thing is that remember that when we write our theta, okay, our theta must be actually between 0 to 2 pi. Okay, argument, because this is polar form. The r and theta is actually is from the polar form. So theta must be written in the form of between 0 to pi, which is a positive angle. Okay, so you're not using the negative angle there. Okay, so you just need to make sure that first of all, this complex number minus 1 plus I, this is actually is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 2 angle. So which means you just need to find quadrant 2 angle, okay, in positive direction, counterclockwise direction of the angle. And of course, for exponential form, theta or argument must be in radian. You can use degrees. That is for exponential form. Polar form, if it's a polar form of a complex number, you can use either degrees or radian. But for exponential form, theta must be written in terms of radian only. Okay, and again, that radian must be in the correct quadrant as well, correct quadrant of the complex number, and use your positive or counterclockwise direction of the angle. Okay, so if that's the case, actually, for example 1, okay, your theta actually, you will get that minus, okay, for exponential, if you use your calculator, I would suggest you straight away change the mode, okay, to radian, because then you make sure that you get the correct answer for that. So if I use calculator for tangent inverse of this is a -1, okay, my calculator will give me yes, minus 0.7854, which is stated in the book. Okay, theta is actually given in terms of minus 0.7854. Okay, however, this is minus 0.7854. This is actually is quadrant 4. Okay, it's a quadrant 4 angle. Okay, but because our z is actually is in quadrant 2, so you use again the same concept. Okay, assuming this is your minus 0.7854, then this is also 0.7854. Okay, reference angle. Okay, but then what you need to do, you just need to make sure that you subtract pi minus 0.7854. Because we are using radian, so pi. So which means, all right, okay, pi is in either, in this case because I'm using decimal, so my pi is actually my 3.142. That is that, all right, that is that pi. Okay, so then what you get is actually your angle here is 2.3562. That's the angle. Okay, all right, okay, 2.3562. So that means when you write your answer for that example, that example 1, the answer should be written as sec2 e power 2.3562 I. Okay, so you just take note, there's a mistake. There's a mistake in your example 1 part A in the book. Okay, as well as I would also like to highlight also example 2 in the book. Okay, example 2 where example 2 in the textbook, where the answer, okay, for example, like if you look at part A, they give you e power pi over 4i. Okay, answer is correct. They ask you to write in rectangular form. So what they do, all right, until they come up to, okay, look at the answer. They got like square root of 2 over 2 plus I sec 2 over 2. And then the last answer, they factorize. Okay, by right, you should not do this. So you cancel this. This is actually is the right form. When we ask you to write in terms of rectangular form, it means it is in the form of x plus yi. Okay, that is the rectangular form. It's in the form of x plus yi, or you can say a plus bi. Doesn't matter which one. Okay, but the form should be written for this step. Okay, this is the right step. So you just discard the last step for both actually, A and B. No, you cannot actually, you don't factorize, alright? You don't factorize the constant. Okay, so you must write in this form. So that is the correct form of x plus y I. So you just discard, okay, the last answer there. Okay, alright. So basically for B also, if you look at the B, you just need to expand E. So your answer for B, okay, answer, if you look at the example 2, answer for B must be written as this. You must expand. So the answer should be written as half E, okay, plus, all right, and then E set 3 over 2 I. So that is the answer for example B. Okay, to B. All right, can you quickly give me answer for exercise 4.6 for those who have done this? Okay, exercise 4.6. Exercise 4.6 then. For question 1, A, complex number in exponential form.
Madam.
Okay, yes.
1, 5 exponent.
Okay, answer is 5 E power
2.491 0.4981.
4 9. Okay, 81 I.
Okay.
All right, okay, thank you. This is a correct answer. Okay, I hope everybody got this one right. 5e power 2.4981 I. So that is the answer for 1a. Okay, what about 1b?
2e 1.5.
Okay, 2e power 1.5
1.55.
I. Okay, so
Dapat
5i, is it? Okay, I think it's 1.57, isn't it? So if you want to just one decimal, maybe you can say 1.6. Okay,
Yes,
so it
6.
is, or you can say 1.57 I. Okay, so if it's one
Okay.
decimal, you say 1.6. If it's two decimal, 1.57. Okay, all right. So that is question. That is B. Okay, what about question 2?
Madam.
2. Yes.
Madam. For
Yes.
for 1B, can you show the method how to get the answer?
Okay. All right. For this B, okay, you are given Z equals to I. That means X is 0. Okay, Y is 2. So when you find your R, square root of X squared plus Y squared, so nothing for the X, so it's only for the Y. So then this is 2. So that is R. Okay, even though it's exponential form, but your R theta is actually the same formula, which is R equals to square root of X squared plus Y squared, and then theta is tangent inverse, okay, Y over X. Okay, I understand. It is actually is the Y, which is then tangent inverse Y over X. But in this case, tangent inverse Y is 2, X is 0. So in this case, if you use calculator will give you math error, isn't it? Okay, calculator will give you math error. Okay, so that's why it is actually is good to know how do you actually basically plot your complex number. Okay, that's why you need to know how to plot the complex number, because your complex number is here. So sometimes like this one, when you use calculator gives you math error, because 2 over 0 is undefined. That's why it's math error. Now, tangent inverse, when it comes to tangent, definitely there will be a case whereby then there will be like undefined. Why? Because tangent itself, if you remember the graph of tangent, isn't that it has asymptote line? Okay, that's the place where if you use calculator gives you math error because it's undefined. Okay, that is tangent. Minus pi over 2, 0. Of course, there'll be like math error. So certain thing, maybe you cannot get it from calculator. But the understanding of the complex number itself, this one, Z equals to I. If we were to sketch, all right, our complex number for Z equals to I, how do you plot? How do you plot? Is it basically, all right, your imaginary, this is imaginary, exists. You go from origin, okay, and then nothing for the real part. It's only the imaginary part, but positive. 2 means you go up to unit, so that means your complex number is here. So if that is your complex number, it is actually logic that your angle is actually here, right? So that is actually is angle. Angle is pi over 2. Okay, your friend give you 1.57. This is in terms of decimal for pi over 2. Okay, pi over 2 in terms of decimal is 1.57. Okay, so if you want to use the exact value, you can also write it as 2e pi over 2i. So either 2e power 1.57i or 2e power pi over 2i. So that is the location, pi over 2 there, where you have asymptote line for tangent. Okay, so that's why it's undefined here. Okay, math error. But when you look at the graph here, you can tell the angle, okay, for your 2i. So that is the angle, which is pi over 2. So 1.57 is in terms of decimal. Okay, exact value is pi over 2. So either way is correct. Okay, understood? Okay, so that is
Thank
for
you.
one. All right, welcome. So that is for 1B. Okay. Sorry, yeah, 1B. So then let's look at question 2 now. 2AB. Okay, this time you are given in terms of exponential form, but now you change to rectangular form. That means rectangular form, x plus yi. Okay, so question 2. Question 2A. Anyone? How do you change from exponential to rectangular form? You must actually use polar form of a complex number. Then only you can easily compute. Okay? Or if not, also can. You can just use straight away x is what, y is what, then also give. It's actually, both are the same. Okay? Both are the same actually. You just need to identify what is your r and theta from your exponential form. Straight away, you can use your formula x and y. X equal r cosine theta, and then y is r sine theta. So you got the x and the y, so you got your x plus yi form. Okay. Okay, so what is that for A? Anyone?
Madam,
Yes. Okay.
6.5
Okay, 6.5
plus
plus
11.265.
okay 26i. All right. Okay. Okay, everyone, that's the answer. That is
Madam, can the
yes.
answer in the point decimal?
Can.
Oh,
You
okay.
can give in terms of decimal. In fact, as I mentioned, it doesn't mention about exact value. So they just want you to write in terms of rectangular form. You can just straight away use calculator, can? Right? Unless you have a question like
Okay,
I
madam.
mentioned earlier. Like they said that without using a calculator, find exact value. That's when you cannot use decimal. Okay, but in this case, it doesn't mention anything. Normally, question on complex number, they won't mention anything on the exact value or without using calculator. That type of question is only for trigonometry. Okay, for trigonometry chapter, that's the only question where you will always see find exact value without using calculator. That is only for trigo. Okay. Alright, but when it comes to complex number, even vector also, alright, you just use calculator, you can give us decimal, no, not a problem. Okay, so that is 2A. What about B? Priya? Priya, you want to mute? Yeah. Can you mute? Priya, can you hear me? Can you mute your mic? Okay, all right. Okay, what about B? Priya? Okay, all right. What about B? Anyone for B? What's the answer for B?
4, madam.
Okay, the answer is 4. Okay. Okay, this one? Everyone? Okay. So your theta is 2 pi. So that's why when you use 2 pi, all right, when you compute for your sine 2 pi is 0, isn't it? So there's nothing on the y. Okay. Okay. Cosine 2 pi. All right, you got 1. So then it's 4. Huh? All right. Okay. What about question 3? Okay, what about question 3? What's the answer? Show that okay, you have to show that e power 3 plus 3 pi I equals e power minus minus e power 3. Okay, can you show this? What you need to do starts from your left hand side, which is your e power 3 plus 3 pi I. Okay, every time you have your this type of expression, power with a plus, okay, or even minus, okay, you have power expression is a sum or difference expression. Always recall back your rule for exponent. Remember rule for exponent, a power m times a power n equals to a power m plus n. That's the rule for exponent. Okay, another one is where you have your a power m over a power n. So that is a power m minus n. So always remember this. Always recall this rule for exponent. And this rule, it goes both ways, isn't it? It goes both ways. So if you are given this type, it means you can re-express into this type. Okay? And vice versa. So when you have such an expression, that means you are given the expression here. So you just rewrite into this type of expression. Okay? So which means, all right, you have your in the form of e to power 3, and then you have your e power 3 pi I. This is what it means, eh? Okay, you have e power 3, e power 3, oops, all right. So it is e power 3 times e power 3 pi I. Then only you can tell what is your r and theta. So when you compare with your r e power theta I, so then you will see that, okay, this is your r here. Okay, this is your r. So your theta is 3 pi. Okay, but if I want to show that this equals that, that means I just want to do in just one straight line like that. So perhaps what you need to do, just use your polar form of complex number in the form of r. Okay, you use your this form, which is in the form of r cosine theta plus I sine theta, so that you can straight away later on compute straight away. So which means, okay, your r is e power 3, okay, cosine 3 pi plus I sine 3 pi. So this is where then, if you use your calculator, if you understood, then you know exactly that cosine 3 pi is minus 1 and sine 3 pi is 0. Okay, sine 3 pi is 0. Cosine 3 pi is minus 1. If you are not sure, use calculator. Okay, so basically what you get is actually this is e power 3, this is minus 1, and then sine 3 pi is 0. So this is e power negative e, then only you can show this, that this is actually negative e power 3. So this is right hand side. So it's shown. Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. Okay, it's already 10 o'clock. All right. Okay, for next week, make sure you have already done exercise 4.7. Okay, please do exercise. So straight away next week, I'll straight away discuss. I want the answer straight away for exercise 4.7 as well as exercise 4.8, and then I will straight away select questions from chapter exercise, because exercise chapter 4 basically more or less is the same thing. It's the same as all those exercises that we have done earlier part. So I'm not going to actually do all because it's actually a lot. You can actually, but on your side, you must make sure you do all. So what I'm going to do, perhaps for chapter exercise, I'm going to just select maybe like one question each. All right, one question each. For each question, I just select maybe one or two. Okay, one or two questions. Okay, because basically this is what you have done earlier. Okay, so it will be like repeating the same thing. So we are going to discuss. I select one or two, but if you have your own question, all right, if you have done all, you have question, then you please ask. All right. Okay, because I would like to finish up this question quickly so that we can look at vector question, because we only have another 2 more weeks to go. Next week, week 14, and the last week, which is week 15. Okay, so hopefully by week 15, we are able to look almost on questions from textbook. Okay, so I need you all to actually do all these questions so that we can discuss faster. Okay, all right. If not, it will be a bit delay. Okay.
Madam,
Yes.
can next week class BET 2/1 join the 8 a.m. class?
Oh, you want to have a morning session? You want
Yeah.
to have a morning session? I don't mind. I don't mind as long as you all are free.
Okay,
Okay.
I ask other.
You ask others. Okay. I'm free. Morning and afternoon are actually my session. It's just that today, because I have some appointment in the afternoon, I'm afraid that, as I mentioned, I might be late. All right, I might be rushing for 2 o'clock. That's why today I ask you to all join. Okay, but if everybody agrees to join on 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm fine. But if you want to stay at 2 p.m. also for next week, I'm also fine. So you discuss, okay? Session 2/1, you discuss. All right, then you let me know. Okay, so if everybody would like to join for the morning session, then it's fine. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions before we end the session? Anybody got any question?
No, madam.
All right. Okay, I hope you all have understood. Again, as I mentioned earlier, all right, make sure from today onwards, you try to really work very hard for your final exam. Final exam is just around the corner. Okay, so just sacrifice for this 1 month. Okay, for this 1 month, just sacrifice. Okay, so if you have not been doing many questions, so you start now. Okay, and start doing the current question. Do your assignment as well as do revision quickly. Okay, your revision actually for final exam should start now. Okay, should start now, not starting during the study week. No, study week is like almost too late already, because you got like many questions, many courses to actually study. Okay, to revise and review, but revise and review start now. Okay, so please everyone, so for next week tutorial, I would like to straight away ask for the answer. So maybe next week I'll just call names lah. That will be like faster. Okay, to discuss. Okay, so I'll just call names. You give me the answer. If anybody got any question, just ask. I don't mind showing you if you have question. Okay, but if you don't have question, means I assume that everybody has understood. All right. Okay. And for section 2/1, you tell me if you would like to join morning session. You just let me know. So discuss
Yes,
among
Madam
yourself.
Linda,
Huh?
we would like to join.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So then, if there's no question, then have a good weekend. All right. Stay safe, everyone. Okay. The positive case is actually now increasing. Positive case of our pandemic is increasing. So you just make sure you stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see everyone, or we will meet again next week on Tuesday as usual during lecture. Okay. Thank you, and sorry for the pep talk earlier. All right. Thank you for listening and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you,
Okay.
Thank you,
madam.
madam.
Thank you, madam.
Okay.
Madam.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, you're welcome.